What's up, everybody? I came back yesterday with a YouTube short. It's been a while since I've made any videos. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to make videos all the time. Last time when I made a video on the S21 Ultra, I had, ideas of continuing what I was doing before, but life has just been busy with work and other things. So today, basically going to talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 3 a little bit. These are some initial impressions. Talk about what I like and dislike. Maybe I'll make a full review on this, hopefully. I also got the watch and I got the flip. I've got quite a few products right now. I'm also shooting this using the Pixel 5a, mainly because I wanted to test this overheating claim that a lot of people are saying is an issue with the Pixel 5a. So anyway, let's talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 3. First of all, let me take this case off here. If anyone's interested in this case, I talked about this case over on Twitter. This is the spec case. It's the clear case. I think it's the best third-party case I've used so far. I've used a couple of them. Honestly, the Samsung case with the pen slot is obviously complete garbage, as I showed you yesterday in the video that I made. But there are some other good cases that Samsung made. They made a leather cover and some other stuff, which I'll definitely check out. So if you want to see some reviews of those, let me know. Hopefully I can post some reviews of the other cases that I'm going to get in from Samsung. I definitely want the leather one. That's the main one that I'm probably going to use. So anyway, the Galaxy Z Fold 3 obviously improved quite a bit from the first two iterations of this device. Some of the main improvements that Samsung touted were the under-display camera here on the inside. Of course, you've now got some water resistance, even though it's not, fully water resistant, not IP68 or anything like that, like we would expect from a traditional slab style phone. You've got 120 hertz refresh rate on both screens now. The phone feels a lot more solid. This is the green one, by the way. It's really hard to tell that it's green unless you take it out in the bright sunlight. I guess here in my office lights, though, actually shooting this from my university office, you guys can kind of see the green, though, pretty nicely on with the bright lights that are in here. But those are the main improvements. It also feels a lot more durable than the old versions. I had the Fold 1 and also the Fold 2. I never really could use those as my daily driver, honestly, because I felt like, one, I was a little worried about durability concerns, but also I felt like the hinge was a little soggy. I don't know how to describe it. It just, over time, the hinge felt like it was not sturdy. So after a lot of folds, I mean, obviously I've only had this one for 3 days, so I can't really say if that's going to be the case, but it feels a lot more sturdy. This is definitely a heavy phone, though, is one thing that I will say. I do have my Galaxy S21 Ultra here. That was my daily driver before picking up the Z Fold 3 and trying this now as my daily driver. This right here is obviously one of the best phones I've ever used. The S21 Ultra, I think, is just an amazingly good phone from Samsung. But even with this quite heavy UAG case that I have on the S21 Ultra, the Fold is still quite a bit heavier than the S21 Ultra. So definitely, if you are someone who doesn't necessarily like having something heavy carrying around, that's a consideration. What do I like about this phone? Well, one thing I really like about the phone, again, is the displays are now both 120 hertz, so you get the super smooth, refresh rate, all that kind of stuff. Of course, I like having the water resistance because now I don't have to be as nervous about carrying it around. I actually did drop this phone from my couch onto the tile floor below, and when I did that, there were no scratches or abrasions. I really don't see any damage at all to my phone. I'm a very paranoid type of person with my tech, so I looked around all sides of it, and I really don't see any big issues at the end of the day. So I really like that. It seems very durable. The water resistance makes me feel a little bit better about it. Obviously, the other one that Samsung touted, like I said, was this under-display camera. Now, this one, I'm definitely not sold on this as a feature because, as you guys can see here in the video, you can clearly see the under-display camera. And if you go into an app, obviously here, if you go into an app where you have light mode on, let me see if I can find an app, Facebook maybe, because for some reason dark mode doesn't work on Facebook here. So if you go into an app like Facebook where you don't have dark mode, you can still see the pixels. Not really blend in that great, in my opinion. I don't know why Facebook dark mode doesn't work. I've tried this numerous times. That and Facebook Messenger seem to be wonky with the Fold so far, but that's a different story entirely, probably a software issue. So this only really fades away kind of on dark backgrounds or you're watching media. But the selfie quality on this is pretty bad. I mean, honestly, you're not going to be taking selfies too often with the inside display, which a lot of people have mentioned. That's true. But if you do want to, the selfie quality is absolute garbage on the inside. So that's certainly something to keep in mind at the end of the day. And I don't think they really needed to do it because it doesn't add to the overall aesthetic at a level that really makes me want to do that. Another thing is these screen protectors on here, they still get a ton of fingerprints. You guys can see. I didn't take the fingerprints and wipe them down before the video because I wanted to show this. The cover display, I've been using this all day. This is in the middle of the day. It's 4:14 p.m. Yeah, I've been using it all day. And the screen, these screen protectors get fingerprints. I'm honestly thinking about ripping these off. I ripped the screen protectors off my Fold, both the cover display and the inner display. I ripped it off because I just did not like having those fingerprints in there. And if you take them off, it's a nicer experience in terms of interfacing with the phone and tapping and things like that as well. But that's just one thing I don't like. Another thing is battery life is not that great. Obviously, like I said, I'm very spoiled having come from the S21 Ultra here, which is probably one of the best phones I've ever had in terms of battery life. So going to the Galaxy Z Fold 3, I was hoping that it was going to be a similar battery quality, but not so much. I've been using this as my main phone. Obviously, it's paired to the Galaxy Watch 4 as well. So I've got a Bluetooth device paired to it all day. And I'm at 45% at 4 p.m. I usually use my phone more in the evenings too when I get home, taking some pictures and stuff. And then also, using it for just, browsing Reddit, Twitter, etc. on the couch. So this thing will probably be dead by around 9 p.m., which isn't necessarily great because I don't always go to sleep by 9 p.m. That's not a really necessarily full day of battery life for me. So it's definitely better than the Flip 3, which, hopefully I'll make a video on that. That one, the battery life is not anywhere near where it needs to be for someone who uses their phone very heavily. You've probably seen that from a number of sources. The other thing that I don't like about this phone is it's still hard to find a time where the Fold is my preferred device. Throughout the day, when I'm, this is something I haven't heard a lot of reviewers necessarily comment on. Throughout the day when I'm at work, the Galaxy S21 Ultra form factor just kind of appeals to me more, like this general slab style phone versus the Fold, because namely the cover display is very narrow. So if you want to just check something quite quickly, maybe scroll through an email or something like that, and you don't really want to open up the inner screen, that's obviously a better experience on something like the Galaxy S21 Ultra or even the Flip. The only time you really want to unfold this is when you have a lot of time to kind of scroll through. Maybe you're looking, like I said, scrolling through Twitter, Reddit, or Instagram, or maybe you're answering emails and triaging emails, and that's the main thing you're doing. You're not just answering or reviewing a quick email. Then, obviously opening up this screen is a great experience. But using the phone on the go, it still seems like this is not always the phone that I necessarily want at the given moment, except in the evening when I'm just sitting on my couch, maybe when I'm sitting in the office. But there are still times when I want to do something on my phone and I reach for the phone. I want to do it quickly, but I don't really have enough time to open the cover display, or I don't want to use two hands. But then I have to use the front display, which is very narrow, especially for keyboard tasks, like answering a quick message, etc. So I'm not knocking it entirely. I'm just saying that I like the experience. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep using this probably until the Pixel 6 Pro comes out as my main phone. I'm not going to go back to the S21 Ultra because I want to try it, give it a legitimate shot. But those are just some thoughts, in terms of usability in the first few days. It feels like it's not always necessarily the phone that I want, which isn't great, obviously, for $1,800 price tag. The S Pen support obviously is great. I do think it's a huge detractor that you don't have a slot to store the S Pen like on the Note. I really think the Note should come back next year because I don't want a device where I have to carry the S Pen around separately. You guys saw the video I made yesterday, which was a huge debacle with the case they made. Obviously, that's not a good option. You're going to lose the S Pen if you carry it around separately. Let's just be honest. So, that's not really an option for me either. Of course, I love having, all this extra screen real estate, to write stuff with the S Pen. That's great. But not having it stowed in the device is actually a huge detractor something that actually made the Note lineup a big winner, something people didn't even think about that made the Note lineup such a huge winner. You think, oh, it's not that much different from a Galaxy S phone with the S Pen stowed in it, but it is a huge difference if you use the S Pen quite often. And then the last thing, which, again, if I do a full review, I am some of these who follow me on Twitter, I'm now writing over at XDA and doing a lot of Chrome OS coverage, but also doing some Android stuff. I'm actually going to write an in-depth comparison of these two phones for XDA. So hopefully I'll post a video on my channel, but if I don't, you can find that on XDA if you follow me on Twitter. The links are below. You'll get to see that. I'm going to do a lot of camera shots with these two, and I've already done some, and I can tell you, as everyone else probably has told you if you follow a lot of tech media, the S21 Ultra just blows the Galaxy Z Fold 3 away when it comes to camera. I mean, there's really no comparison. At the end of the day, you can get this Galaxy S21 Ultra for under $1,000 now. If you really care about camera and battery life and performance, the S21 Ultra is, nearly half the price, and it gives you better specs in all those categories that are important to people. The only thing you don't get is the cool factor, right? I mean, there's nothing you can really say about busting this out in a restaurant or somewhere and really impressing people. There's just something cool about it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you're paying a lot of money and not necessarily getting the best phone in terms of other things like usability. So, that's something to consider. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I like the phone. Like I said, I just don't think this is necessarily going to be a phone that everybody wants to carry around on a daily basis yet. I mean, obviously, I think it's getting there. Samsung's making huge strides in the various iterations of this phone. It was, not ready at all in the first iteration, and it's getting progressively better. So I definitely like where they're headed. I still think slab phones are probably a better choice for most people. The Flip, another consideration, but that one, the battery life is a main concern. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the videos, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll keep making some more. Like I said, I'm not going to promise anything, but hopefully I'll be motivated to make some more. I enjoy interacting with people who watch my content, things like that. Find me all my social links in the bottom, and subscribe if you want. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.